for Wednesday, March 4th, 2026. I'm Stephen Forte. So, last week, three things happened that I think deserve your attention. Not because they were the loudest announcements, there's always a loud announcement, but because they share a thread. And once you see the thread, it's hard to unsee it. Here's the thread: AI stopped being the thing you talk to and started being the thing that does the work. Microsoft gave AI its own computer. Perplexity gave it 19 computers. And Anthropic gave it a desk inside your office. That's a shift worth unpacking, so let's get into it. Let's start with Microsoft. On February 26th, Microsoft launched something called Copilot Tasks. And the name is boring, which is actually the point. This isn't a flashy demo. This is a to-do list that does itself. Their words, not mine. You describe what you need in plain English, monitor flight prices and rebook when they drop, compile competitor pricing data every Friday, scan my inbox, and draft responses to anything urgent, turn these email attachments into a slide deck, and Copilot Tasks goes and does it. Not, here's a suggestion, so it actually does it. It runs on its own cloud-based virtual computer with its own browser in the background while you're doing something else entirely. It can run once, on a schedule, or on a recurring basis. And this is the important part. It asks permission before it spends money or sends a message on your behalf. So you're still in the loop. You're just not doing the grunt work anymore. Right now, it's in a limited research preview, so it's early. But the direction is unmistakable. Now, one day before Microsoft's announcement, Perplexity launched something called Perplexity Computer. And if Copilot Tasks is a capable assistant with one computer, Perplexity Computer is a whole department. It orchestrates 19 different AI models, not one, 19, each one specialized for a different kind of work. Opus 4.6 handles the core reasoning. Gemini does the deep research. Nano Banana generates images. Veo 3.1 creates video. Grok handles the fast, lightweight stuff. ChatGPT 5.2 manages long context recall. You describe an outcome. Research our top 5 competitors, compare their pricing, build a slide deck, and email it to my team. And Perplexity Computer breaks that into subtasks, assigns them to the right models, and delivers the finished result. Each task runs in an isolated compute environment with a real file system, a real browser, real tool integrations. These workflows can run for hours or months, and you can run dozens of them in parallel. It's available now to Perplexity Max subscribers. So you've got Microsoft spinning up one virtual computer for your tasks, and Perplexity spinning up 19 specialized models working in concert. The professional grade, cloud hosted, enterprise ready approach. And then there's the open source path. OpenClaw. You've probably seen the headlines. This thing went from 9,000 to over 145,000 GitHub stars in a matter of weeks, the fastest repo to hit 100,000 in GitHub history. Originally called Claudebot, then Moltbot after Anthropic's lawyers got involved, it's now OpenClaw. The idea is compelling: an AI agent that runs 24/7 on a Mac Mini, connected to your messaging apps, managing your email, browsing the web, executing code, scheduling your calendar. And it's open source, which developers love. Peter Steinberger, the creator, was hired by OpenAI in February to lead their personal agents division. The project lives on as a foundation. But here's where I want to be honest with you, because a lot of YPO members have asked me about this. OpenClaw is a tinkerer's dream and an operator's headache. The setup is technical. We're talking terminal commands, API keys, sandboxing. Running local models on an entry-level Mac Mini is slow, about twice as slow as predicted, according to people who've actually tried it. If you switch to API-based models for better speed, the costs add up fast. One reviewer spent over $300 in an hour doing essentially nothing productive. And then there are the security concerns, and Cisco's research team found third-party skills performing data exfiltration without user awareness. One of OpenClaw's own maintainers said, and I'm paraphrasing, "If you can't understand how to run a command line, this project is too dangerous for you." So here's how I'd frame this for your next forum meeting. The cloud solutions, Microsoft Copilot Tasks and Perplexity Computer, are the professional grade path. Enterprise ready, no setup, no maintenance, governed, auditable. That's what you deploy across a company. OpenClaw is the hobbyist version. Fun if you like building things, not what you'd bet a business on. The destination is the same: AI agents doing real work on real computers. But the on-ramp matters. All right, second story. And this one might actually matter more for most YPO members because it's not about the future, it's about right now. Anthropic, the company behind Claude, launched a major expansion of what they call Cowork plugins. And the idea is deceptively simple. Instead of going to an AI chatbot, copying your question, getting an answer, and then going back to your actual work, Claude now lives inside the tools you already use: Excel, PowerPoint, Google Drive, Gmail, DocuSign, Slack. And for the finance folks, FactSet, S&P Global, LSEG. Claude operates directly inside these applications, pulling context, analyzing data, building deliverables. No copying, no pasting, no switching windows. Now, this isn't brand new. Anthropic has been rolling out Cowork capabilities over the past couple of months, and each announcement has sent software stocks into minor cardiac arrest. But what's new is the depth and breadth. They've built department-specific plugins for HR, finance, investment banking, private equity, design, operations, engineering. The finance plugins can pull live yield curves, price interest rate swaps, build DCF models, draft investment committee memos using institutional grade data from LSEG and FactSet. The HR plugins can draft job descriptions and offer letters that reflect your company's actual tone and policies. And here's what makes it genuinely interesting for operators. Admins can build custom plugins tailored to their company's specific workflows. You're not locked into Anthropic's version of how your business should work. Companies are already using this. The NYSE rewired their engineering process with Claude Code, proxy filings, SEC audits, news classification. Spotify cut engineering time on code migrations by 90%, not 990, and now over half their software updates flow through Claude integrated systems. Novo Nordisk reduced clinical study documentation from over 10 weeks down to roughly 10 minutes. These aren't pilot programs, these are production deployments. But here's what I actually want you to take away from this. Forget the product specs for a moment. The real story is how these companies got here. And it wasn't a top-down mandate. It wasn't the CEO standing up and saying, we are now an AI company. It was curious employees. Epic's SVP of R&D said it directly during Anthropic's event. Giving tools where employees can create on their own is a real way to open up opportunities. Thomson Reuters' CEO said the technology is outpacing change management by about 18 months. The companies winning at AI right now aren't the ones with the biggest budgets. They're the ones that let their people experiment. So if I were advising a YPO member on how to deploy this, and I've had this conversation about 40 times in the last month, here's what I'd say. Pick one department, pick one workflow. Maybe it's your finance team building weekly reports, or your HR team drafting offer letters, or your ops team evaluating vendors. Give them Claude with the relevant plugins. Give them 60 days, don't set KPIs, don't require reports. Just let them play with it. What happens, and I've seen this over and over, is that the curious people self-select. They start finding uses nobody anticipated. They upskill themselves without being asked. And that creates the internal momentum that no top-down initiative can manufacture. Curiosity is the cheapest change management tool you've got. So let me tie this together. We're watching AI transition from something you consult to something you deploy. Microsoft built it a computer. Perplexity built it a department of 19 specialists. Anthropic built it a desk inside your existing office. The question for every YPO member running a business, and this is the question I'd bring to your next forum meeting, is simple. How much of your team's work is still being done by people? Not because it requires human judgment, but because nobody's set up the alternative yet. That gap between what AI can do and what your company has done with it. That's the gap your competitors are closing right now. That's the YPO Technology Network AI Brief for Wednesday, March 4th. I'm Stephen Forte. If this hit home, send it to a fellow member who needs to hear it. I'll be back tomorrow with more. Until then, stay sharp.